Why is it that a lot of people feel disappointed by video game companies nowadays? Well, it is obvious more and more that a lot of the quality of things in nowadays times is dwindling more and more. They're becoming worse and worse by the day, and it's also an increasing trend that in video game industry the so-called job of quality assurance is kind of becoming extinct. The point is, the quality of games and such products will kind of dwindle because the quality assurance individuals were those supposed to make sure that the code and optimizations were, let's say, on spot and things were delivered in, let's say, a concise quality. But that job was somehow shoved under the responsibilities of developers, and well, things are gonna end up usually iffy when you look at video games. The biggest mistake that most video games do is they always present their things, right? It's this fetish for trailers because the whole industry nowadays is obsessed with attention. It's all about love me, hate me, but don't ignore me, right? Everyone wants to steal some of your attention. The moment they put those trailers up, people are already expecting bad things. People are already expecting disappointment. When they see a huge trailer, they get hyped up. But since the products are always going to be delivered much, much later than that, and sometimes even delays occur, well, people are already expecting a disappointment. So, in time, they're kind of by design, by programming from society, they're preparing themselves, they're waiting themselves for the disaster that will hit. And a lot of games are kind of, kind of already known to deliver such disasters. Take, for example, Dead by Daylight and, well, let's say Paladins back in the times when it was actually played. There were many situations, bugs, issues, crashes, game not loading, this and that. And well, there are other games that are somewhat well known for such issues, but those are the two examples that I have experienced as well in my life. So the point is, people are already expecting a disaster to hit, a horrible patch, something to be bad, because many times people don't like the game they're playing. They end up tired of it, but it's still their comfort zone. It's still that to which they go to escape the mundane. So there is a kind of a storm inside them. They would wait for the game to crash, hoping that it will, so that they can actually leave it behind and have no other choice, no other temptation to get back into it. And at the same time, they wish it would still exist so that they can spend their time, enjoy the nostalgia and whatever not, or enjoy the misery and, well, the self abuse that one can experience through the game's experience, not necessarily the game's quality. Because a game may be good or bad, but it's always the other players and you who contribute towards the community's way of experiencing the game. And well, that's kind of it. The point is, people are already setting themselves up for a failure. They're already setting themselves up for a horrible patch. And the longer it takes from the trailer to what is going to be in the game, the more they will be complacent with the idea that the game will be horrible or something bad will happen, glitches will occur, and, well, possibly even exploits that will allow them to ruin their opponent's day. So this is a point. Companies should learn to hide this idea of trailers. All the trailers are made to look so perfect, and well, the game is always going to be far from perfect, especially with the quality of people dwindling and actually reducing significantly more and more. If a company would actually deliver something without necessarily a trailer, people will embrace it much better because at least they weren't announced. A surprise is always going to hit much harder. And then at the same time, if you deliver a trailer and then without telling them when the patch will hit and you hit the patch 1 or 2 days later, the people will have had no time to prepare themselves unconsciously for the so-called disaster that your game might be or that game might be, right? That can also be a point. So the point is, working in secrecy always works. It's always a better thing, but well, a lot of games actually get more money from the, from the hype train, right? From things being hyped up, from videos that don't necessarily transmit anything, but it's an anticipation. Most people don't do shit in their life. So a patch in a game is always going to be to them as if, the whole world was rebuilt, reinvented, and made 10 times better for them, right? And then when the hype goes down and they get back into their mundane, expect the most horrible in your life stance, well, that kind of also sets them up to wait for the game to be a horrible thing. Which is why a lot of people, well, don't complain as much as in the older times, because they're kind of well used to this, and well, they will just keep on because people are getting used to the fact of being disappointed with kind of most of the games that appear. Most of the games feel dead anyways. They have good graphics and the such, but storylines are very rare to find a good one, not a cheesy one or some thing that must necessarily twirl some fucked up agendas and the such. So the very simple point is, with video games, a lot of people are already expecting the worst, just like with any new software that appears. And obviously, many companies also give a lot of reasons to people to feel and think like that. So the point is, if you want to start or to launch a video game or to have a small company, don't bother too much with trailers. They cost a lot, and well, as I said, there is this little psychology that most people don't even think about. If you are to deliver something, just deliver it when you should. A lot of companies rush their trailers. They think something will pop up at a certain date, and then they say something will be delayed. People will be even more pissed, and well, things will happen, drama will happen, this and that. You don't want to attract drama in your in your games, in your environment, because it will have a certain influence on you, subconsciously speaking. You may want to simply deliver something when it is ready, right? You can present here and there a few design things or maybe issues you have met. Maybe it will also help some other indie developers at most. But other than that, don't ever present deadlines because you'll never know if they're going to be respected or not. And when you present certain things, better present them in a sloppy way, because it is better to present something that is going to be shit and then you deliver something much better. Because if you present something in the narcissistic, perfect way that society seems to constantly focus on. When you look at most games trailers nowadays, they all look so clean, they all look so perfect. But the game is far from perfect anyways. The game kind of sucks more or less, or doesn't deliver much. It's just a good distraction, yes, but other than that, or a good drama for most people, but other than that, nothing more. It's just like the whole internet died and there's nothing interesting at all. So people just have to adjust themselves to the, most acceptable of the, things that they find, of the games that they find. So in the end, it is much better to deliver something when you feel it is to be delivered. Better to create some little notes or some vlogs where you present your challenges and how you passed by them and how you solved here and there certain things. Other than that, well, a lot of people also disappoint with the idea of dates. They fail to deliver at the right date because anything can happen, right? So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care. Enjoy life. This being said, Ferenc Board signing out.